Okay, yeah, this puppy is cute and everything, but why can it literally skateboard better than all of us? Seriously.
This is Sportscentre.
Hey, I'm Reagan Subin, filling in for Marissa Roberto, and we start with breaking news. As the PGA Tour, DP World Tour, and Public Investment Fund, aka LIV Golf, have announced an agreement to unify golf and end litigation between the PGA Tour and LIV. The three organizations will also work together to establish a fair process for players who want to reapply for PGA Tour memberships following the completion of the 2023 season. A PGA Tour member meeting is set for 4 p.m. today Eastern at the Canadian Open. PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan will be there to explain the future of the sport to the players. The clock looks like it's about to strike midnight on the Florida Panthers' fairy tale run. Vegas crushed Florida last night to take a 2-0 series lead, and in the process put a ton of pressure on the Panthers to come back. Yes, people will look at the first round series against Boston, when Florida was down 3-1, and erase that deficit for an example of what could happen. And ironically speaking about the Bruins, the last team to come back from a 2-0 deficit in a cup final was Boston in 2011 against Vancouver. Since then, the last 6 teams to take a 2-0 series lead in the Stanley Cup final have gone on to win. So how can the Panthers spark a comeback? Well, through 2 games, they've only scored 4 goals. And the numbers outside of Matthew Tkachuk look bad. Sam Reinhart has 1 goal in his last 7. Carter Verhaeghe hasn't scored in 5. And Brandon Montour, who has been so important in this run, doesn't have a single point in his last 10 playoff games. Sam Bennett hasn't scored a goal in that same stretch. And Alexander Barkov hasn't scored in 4 straight. So like I said, yeah, that's pretty ugly. And when those guys aren't scoring, even more pressure falls on the shoulders of Sergei Bobrovsky, who just hasn't been that guy in this series. Bob is 0-2 with an .826 save percentage, and he's allowed more than 3 goals in back-to-back games for the first time this postseason. When you look at Vegas, the depth has been overwhelming. Of the 12 goals they've scored, 9 different players have lit the lamp, and that doesn't even include Jack Eichel, who has 4 assists in 2 games. To baseball, and a nice little stretch from the Jays came to an end last night, as their 4-game winning streak was snapped in a beatdown by the Astros. Over their last 8, Toronto has only lost 2 games, both started by Alek Manoah. And it was ugly last night, as he didn't even get out of the first. The first start of his career where he didn't make it out of the first inning. And it will be the last time that we see him in Toronto for at least a little bit, as he was sent down to the minors earlier today. And not just to Buffalo or New Hampshire, he's going to the Florida League. It's been a night and day season this year compared to last, but Manoah was one of the best pitchers in the majors, versus this year, which we just told you has been pretty bad. Game 2 of the Jays' 4-game set with the Astros goes again tonight in Toronto. And if there's one positive to focus on in tonight's game, it's that the Jays have absolutely crushed non-AL East competition. On the year, they're 6-15 when playing in the division, but 27-13 against the rest of the majors. So those numbers tell us that they should get back on track tonight. To the association, and it has pretty much been all quiet on the superstar movement talk in the NBA. But if you know the NBA, then you know that it can only go a certain amount of days without being overly dramatic. And that's exactly what happened yesterday, with word that Kyrie Irving reached out to LeBron James about the idea of a reunion in Dallas and not LA, creating a new big 3 of the 2 of them and Luka Doncic. But just on the surface level, even the average NBA fan knows, Dallas doesn't even have even close to the amount of pieces to even land LeBron James. So you know the staff of this show had some fun on the NBA trade machine, trying to make the deal work. And yeah, on paper, we can make the salaries match with a Tim Hardaway Jr., Davis Bertans, and Maxi Kleber trade for LeBron. Or we can even swap out Kleber and add in Reggie Bullock, and the salaries still match. But matching salaries is one thing. There is no world that we can even see the Lakers accepting such a garbage package for LeBron. And it's not like Dallas is even flushed with first-round picks to add to that package. So let's just say a Kyrie and LeBron reunion in Dallas is unrealistic at best. But in LA, well, that's a different question altogether.
We often know who wins on the ice or the hard court, but what happens when real-life teams square off? This is the only arena where the actual sun can take on a lake, or a hurricane versus an avalanche. This is the Circle of Life.
Thanks, CZ. This is the segment where members of our Bar Down crew debate real-life matchups. Today we have Pauk on the side of the Panthers and Eric on the side of the Golden Knights.
Panthers versus Golden Knights. I'm obviously taking the Golden Knights here. Assuming that I also get a horse is crazy. I now have the high ground. I'm covered head to toe in armor. Even if the Panther somehow gets past your sword and tries to take a bite of you, you have armor. It's just gonna grab on, with its mouth, and you now have a full second arm with a sword attached to it. I don't understand a world you could possibly think a panther could beat a knight in hand-to-hand combat.
First of all, a panther is faster, more agile. It can leap, it's got sharp teeth, 4 claws. There's no way a knight will move fast enough in that clunky armor to contain the pace and aggression of a panther. I'm sorry, man. You can have 20 horses. It's not working. The panther's gonna charge so fast at that knight and just take him down.
I don't care how agile you think a panther is, it's gonna take like 15 to 20 bites to finally get through that armor before you just need one shot with the sword. One clean shot, panther's done, it's history, lights out.
I don't know when the last time you've seen a knight is. Maybe the 15th century. That armor sucks. It's chainmail. Panthers ripping through that so easily. And if you're talking modern day knights, who's your knight that you're using? Lewis Hamilton, Paul McCartney, Marcus Rashford? Come on, get out of here.
Elton John's my knight.
Guys, this is such an easy debate. If the panther is coming at the knight and the knight has a sword, the knight is obviously winning. Like, end of discussion. Love to see this. Stop trying to mess with women, just trying to do their job. Time now for Why We Love Sports Today.
Why we love sports today.
This is Samantha Rivera of CBS News in Miami, trying to do a live in-arena hit for Game 2, when some clown thinks it's all about him and wants to walk in her shot, while she does her best Derrick Henry impression and hits him with the stiff arm to make sure that doesn't happen. Oh my gosh, yes. Yes, you love to see it. I love how she was strong with it too. Don't get in reporters' way when they're doing their job. That's all for today. Marissa will be back tomorrow. Have an amazing day.